What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you guys sort of a Mets season review up until this point of the season. So let's dive right into this. So today is June 9th. You guys probably won't be seeing this till probably like a few days later. So we'll be reviewing the Mets. I have the box score up on today's game up right now. The Mets won today's game against Colorado Rockies 6-1, and now their record is 32-33. Determined from where they were maybe like a few weeks ago after that sweep against the Marlins, where Mickey Callaway should have gotten canned at that point. They actually have been doing a lot better, I would say, since then. But the season so far has honestly been just a complete utter disappointment by them. Like, I'm expecting 90-plus wins, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get that this year. Alrighty, so let's dive into today's box score. Noah Syndergaard, 7 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs allowed, 0 earned runs allowed, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Season ERA is 4.45. That's our number 2 guy. 4.45 is season ERA from our number 2 guy. Syndergaard, honestly, so far this year has been a major disappointment. Honestly, Syndergaard really hasn't been the same ever since he had that lat injury a few years ago. He just really has never been like the same. He's always kind of on and off the DL, always hurt. And before I go into the batting order results, I want to talk about Robinson Cano. I was kind of, when that trade happened, I was okay with the trade until they added in that guy Jared Cowlick, I think his name is, because the scouts, he is just a prospect, so he could not, really work out. But the scouts are like comparing this guy, saying he might be, the next Mike Trout or something. And they literally just drafted him that past year. So now moving into Cano. Cano has just been in a complete, utter disappointment. There's no way of saying it. He had a great spring training. I don't pay attention to spring training numbers because I've seen this too many times where people have good spring trainings and they have a terrible season. I don't really know what happens. Maybe they don't try. They try too hard. They get all their hits in spring training. Who knows? But Cano has just been an utter disappointment, and they could just keep him on the DL for all I care at this point because he's just taking up a position at this point. It's just kind of how I feel. He's just been so bad. 245. I think he only has like 3 home runs. That's brutal. Alrighty. Moving to the bright spot. Jeff McNeil. Batting .335. Now that's really good. I am a big fan of Jeff McNeil. I think this guy's a stud. I think he has a potential to be a long-term guy for us. I can see him making. He's kind of, to me, more underrated. No one's really talking about him, really. So I don't know if that's he could be an all-star this year, but to me, the all-star game has kind of become kind of a joke now. It's because it's just not really interesting as it was. I guess it's just because I'm kind of older now that I don't really, I see all the other players around the league all the time on highlights and stuff, and I've seen them all play. Because I used to get the baseball package. So I guess the All-Star game doesn't mean that much to me anymore. Alright, so let's start from the top of today's starting lineup. We got Amed Rosario. Amed Rosario this year has actually been doing pretty well. I've been actually pretty surprised. Batting .249, 8 home runs, 33 RBIs, and has 6 stolen bases. That's pretty good. That's actually like a lot better than what he was last year. The big surprising part is the 8 home runs to me because he's so skinny looking. He doesn't look like a home run guy, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Amed Rosario. Michael Conforto, batting .260, 12 home runs, 29 RBIs. I'm very hard on Michael Conforto. I think he's been, other than that one good half year he had in the second half of last year, he honestly has been kind of disappointing. I really would have thought he would have been a lot better player. I was expecting kind of a monster year, like an over 300 batting average, doing kind of what the next guy we'll be talking about, Pete Alonso's doing with home runs right now. I thought he'd be a lot higher than that, have a lot more RBIs. It's just he's been disappointing. So moving on to Pete Alonso, the biggest bright spot of the season, batting .258, 21 home runs, and 46 RBIs, and an OPS of .934. If you don't know what OPS is on base plus slugging. So to .258, it's a little. I mean, I would have liked to have seen his batting average. I mean, no one really counts batting average anymore. It's more about the on base part now. But I would have liked to have seen his batting average be more toward 285, 290 range. But everything else, he's killing it. 21 home runs and 46 RBIs. He's on pace to have a lot of home runs. I'm pretty sure on pace to have like about 40 home runs this year. So he's having a good rookie year. And who knows, he might win the Rookie of the Year, but the only thing that might stop him from that is that Fernando Tatis Jr., I think. Yeah, Tatis Jr., because he's been kind of the spotlight when it comes to the rookies, so he might be in the shadows. Alright, so Dom Smith. Dom Smith has been another major surprise coming off the bench. Batting .360, 4 home runs and 9 RBIs, OPS of 1.041. But that's only with 75 at-bats. So he's been a very, very good surprise so far this year coming off the bench. I really like what I've seen from Dom Smith because Dom Smith was pretty much done as a Met. He really was. Like, he was just such a disappointment, a former number one draft pick. I had big high hopes to him. And I remember the night he got drafted, the scouts actually kind of were comparing him to Robinson Cano, which is kind of funny that now Cano's a Met and he's terrible. Alright, so moving on to Todd Frazier. Batting average .265, which is surprising. 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. I got to say, Todd Frazier has been a little bit of a surprise too, especially after last year being absolutely pathetic. And even when he was on the Yankees, when he was on the Yankees the year before that, he had a lot of home runs, but his batting average was low. So I'm a guy, I like seeing a nice high batting average, but I know now it's all about the on base. The 6 home runs is nice. The 20 RBIs. He actually had a big game today. Had a three-run home run today and an RBI double today. So that's good from him. J.D. Davis, another surprise. A nice little pickup from Brodie Van Wagenen this year from the offseason. Batting .260, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs. I really liked what I've seen from J.D. Davis so far this year. He's still only 26 years old. The Mets are kind of, I would say they're kind of a little bit of the obsession part with J.D. Davis, but I really do like what I've seen from him. Moving on to Andy Hector Barria. I think they signed him as a free agent when Cano got hurt. He's been pretty good. 4 home runs. I never really followed his stats because he was in the Marlins for a while. Ended up going to Tampa Bay. I think he went to one other team before he went to the Yankees last year, but I could be wrong. He could have just went to the Yankees last year. But he's been pretty solid, batting .254, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, but that is only with 71 ABs, so we would want to see a lot more at-bats to kind of really do a better comparison, but I've liked what I've been seeing from him so far. So now, Carlos Gomez. They picked him up a few weeks ago. He went to the minor leagues and they brought him up, I think, when Conforto went on the DL, when he got hurt this year. 62 ABs, batting .210, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases. I always was a fan of Carlos Gomez. When they traded him away for Santana, I was like, damn, I really like this young kid. I think he's going to be a good player. But his career never really took off until he went to Milwaukee. They kind of let him be his own kind of player. Because they always like, oh, nice fast guy, could be like a bunt, stolen base kind of guy. But he's a good player. I'm really happy to see him back with the Mets. He is 33 now. So there is zero long-term value with him. But I really like him coming off the bench because the guy that we had, I think Keon Broxton, they had before him, and he was pathetic. So he's been doing a pretty solid job. So now our backup catcher, Tomas Nido. The Mets. I heard that the Mets view him as a long-term backup catcher. He is 25 years old. So if he can do an okay job hitting and have a really solid defense, I think he'd be a solid long-term backup catcher. Alrighty, so moving on to the bullpen. Jeurys Familia has been an absolute joke. Jeurys Familia has an ERA. Oh, let me pull up the numbers here real quick. Jeurys Familia has an ERA of 6.04. That's just unacceptable for eighth inning guys. They had Kimbrel as a free agent, but no, the Mets just didn't want to spend a little money for once in their lives and bring in Familia, move him into the eighth, Familia in the seventh, and then Lugo / Gazelman / everyone else for the middle innings. They would have had a killer bullpen, and the Mets always have a terrible bullpen. I don't know what it is with them. They just need a good bullpen for once. Their bullpen is terrible. Sorry, so moving on to Seth Lugo. He's been pretty good. Has a 2.59 ERA, 31.1 innings pitched, 39 strikeouts, 23 games he's been in. He's been pretty good. Seth Lugo's a good guy. I'm a really big fan of Seth Lugo. He's a really solid player. Alright, so moving on to Gazelman. Let me find his numbers here for a quick second. Gazelman is a guy I personally just didn't think he's good. He has an ERA of 4.91, 36.2 innings pitched, 37 strikeouts. The 4.91 ERA is unacceptable when it comes to a reliever. Unacceptable. It should be where Seth Lugo's is where it's like 2.59. It's completely unacceptable. Alright, so moving on. I know I only mentioned a few bullpen guys, but these are the guys that are usually in every game. So moving on to our closer, Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz, he's 1-3. Has an ERA of 2.81, 25.2 innings pitched, and 43 strikeouts. And I'm pretty sure he has 2 or 3 blown saves. I don't see the exact numbers on here. But Edwin Diaz, I haven't seen enough games of him pitching because I only see the beginning part of the game because I go to bed early because I get up super early in the morning for work. But from what I've heard some people saying Edwin Diaz has been a disappointment. I've heard he's been pretty solid, and I heard he's been okay. I mean, for the games that I've seen him, his stuff is pretty epic. If you ever have the Met game on, definitely try and see this guy pitch. He has some pretty wipeout stuff, and I really like that. And I do like that he's only 25, and we have 4 years of team control, including this year. I could be wrong on the years. It could be 3. Was that really worth a Cano and a Calic? I don't know. I feel like the Mets should have taken on all of Cano's contract and they throw that guy in there as like something good if we take on all the money. But no, the Mets, they don't do that because they're the Mets. Jacob deGrom, he had 2 awesome starts. 3 or 4 great starts, but then tailed off for a while. And his ERA was really high. He's been doing pretty good as of late. His last start, he did 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 10 Ks, ERA 3.45. That's from our ace. From our ace, that is not good enough. Season ERA 3.45, that is a lot higher of a number than I would like to have seen. It should be at least in the full number lower, but he's been pitching pretty good as of late, so maybe he's turning around. So now let's move on to Steven Matz. Steven Matz, I'm very hard on him. I think he's very overrated. I've never been a fan of Steven Matz. But this is by far his best year so far. 12 games, ERA 3.88, 66 Ks, and 62.2 innings pitched. Steven Matz, a guy who's always hurt. He's a decent bat. He's been pretty good this year. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He's been pretty good. Moving on to Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, 7 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, and 9 Ks, and 2 home runs allowed, and the ERA of 4.68. That is disappointing to see from Zach Wheeler because I know for a fact Zach Wheeler is a better pitcher than that. And especially last year when he had that solid second half, when he was phenomenal second half last year. And Zach Wheeler is a free agent at the end of this year, so hopefully he turns it around and gets a decent payday coming up because you know the Mets aren't paying him. Alright, moving on to our last starting pitcher, the controversial Jason Vargas, the pitcher that everyone loves to hate on, who his last start pitched a complete game, allowing 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.57. Who would have thought? Who would have thought Vargas, out of all the pitchers, would be one of the more solid Met pitchers of this year? That's just amazing to me. Honestly, anything good we get out of Vargas, I see as a solid. So, Jason Vargas, good for you, man. I hope you keep pitching like this, because the pitching so far has been pathetic. It's been disappointing. So, I would grade the starting pitching staff, I would give a D. The bullpen, I'd give a D-. The lineup, I would probably give a C-, other than McNeil and Alonso. I'd give A's to them. And overall, I would say the Mets as a whole is a solid D for disappointment, because they have been nothing but a disappointment so far this year. Even though they are only 1 game under 500, which to me, I know that I feel like they've been playing a little better as of late, but overall, Mets have been a complete disappointment so far this year, again. So, that kind of wraps up my Mets season review up to this point. Depending on how this does, maybe I'll do this maybe once a month, once every other month. I don't know. We'll see how the results are. So, alrighty. So that wraps up today's Met review video. If you like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. And if you want to see more videos like these, please consider subscribing. If you want to stay up to date on everything I post on social media, make sure to give me a follow. The links are down below. Alrighty guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!